everybody, it's Romania Black. As you can see, I'm in a very good place. And by that I mean I'm a little freaked out because it's episode 23 of Attack on Titan. Smile! And there's not a lot of reasons to smile right now. No, the entire expedition was a failure. Erwin and Levi have to answer to the Council of Zachary now. Aaron's going to be handed over to the military police. Lots of people died. Levi's leg is injured. I don't know if he's told anybody. It's not good. Things aren't good. So I was like, let's prepare for this, shall we? And some people have commented, and I wanted to make note of it, that way back in episode 18, some people were commenting about Levi and Erwin's relationship. And some people commented again back in episode 20 and saying, you know, Levi and Erwin, what I find interesting about those two is that they have a very interesting dynamic. And some people have commented about it, and I thought about it. But Levi and Erwin trust each other, I feel, completely. But they also like to challenge each other. They're very similar to Armin and Jean, where they both trust each other and respect each other, but they both still question each other's motives and their ideas and bounce ideas back and forth. And this one person on Patreon in particular was commenting with episode 20. They're like, Levi, whenever Erwin sprung his trap, Levi seemed like he was asking for some empathy or acknowledgement from Erwin, saying, you know, the reason why we got through this is because our people died to get us here. It wasn't me that got us this success, it was the people that died along the way. And Erwin just doesn't really respond to that. And so part of it is Levi trying to acknowledge that it wasn't him that was the resounding factor behind it. There's all these other factors that led to them getting there. But then with Erwin, it's like Erwin almost doesn't have time to be emotional because he's got all this on his plate. And I feel like at the end of this last episode of episode 22, Erwin just coolly and calmly wading through all these people yelling at him, emotionless, because that's what he has to do. Like, he can't get caught up in the emotion of it because otherwise it's going to tear him apart. So will I be internally screaming by the end of this episode? Oh, probably. We've only got 3 episodes left of the season. I'm not scared at all. And the fact that they call it Smile, I'm like, either one of two things are happening. This episode is going to either be batshit insane, or it's going to be a low-key episode to build up to the last 2 episodes being batshit insane. So, you know, typical Attack on Titan run-of-the-mill stuff. So let's do this, shall we? Let's just dive right in. We are gonna tackle old episode 23 here of Attack on Titan and see what we're in for. And we're going to do that here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So there's that. That was amazing. That whole reveal. Ooh. Oh, Armin. Oh. A lot of this was going on during most of the episode. So, holy shit. Okay. We setting some things up for this season finale. We are setting some things up. God, and Armin. Wow. There's so much with this OP now that is making much more sense. And I'm kind of floored by it. But, so Wall Sina, this season finale is taking place at the government. Okay. Okay, so that's interesting. Here's the thing. This could actually work towards Levi and Erwin's advantage, right? In a weird, twisted way. Because the people of Wall Sina, as we've established in this episode, they have no clue what has been going on over at Wall Rose and Wall Maria. They have no clue. They're just assuming the stories they've heard about Titans and everything. They're just assuming that they know what this big threat is. But they don't really. They have no real clue what's going on. So if we have a giant battle breakout between Aaron and Annie, round 2 of this battle, if we have a giant thing go out again between the 2 of them, then that might actually work in Armin and Levi's favor, right? That might actually work in their favor, because what could end up happening is that the government will see, they'll see the two Titans fighting, and if Aaron wins and they subdue Annie, then the government might be like, maybe us killing Aaron is a bad idea. Although if that happens, that spells some bad news for Annie, because then there's just a lot of factors. I mean, the result of this battle could be a lot of different things. The government could forgive Aaron and let him go with the Survey Corps to try their mission again. The government could say, screw it, you both are a threat, let's kill y'all. If Annie's captured, they could kill Annie. If Annie escapes, she could be gone. So there's a lot of different factors that could happen by the end of this. So I don't want to say what exactly is going to happen, because that is all subject to change. But, oh, buddy, the fact that this is happening in Wall Sina is huge, because it's bringing the battle to the main place, right? And what if Annie knocks through the Wall Sina? What if that happens? So, real quick, we don't get to see what her dad looks like, which is sus. Very suspect. I feel like he's going to be a major player in all of this, and she looks terrifying, and he's just making her fight over and over again, like training her to do combat. My big question in all of this, and I'm assuming it's going to get answered because time has passed, is she got back to Wall Sina, and it didn't seem like she was missing, right? Because the people in the military police, they don't really question her being gone. They're just like, oh, you've been really lax lately. So I guess she's been sneaking off, and they just haven't, been really concerned about it, I guess. It's pretty lackadaisy there, so maybe. So we're at the eastern walled city of Wall Sina. Stohess. Interesting. And so they established that the Survey Corps is bringing Aaron to the government today to get tried by Zachary again. And that they seal the gate. So they're wanting to basically just seal up the gate. And so, yeah, we get a little bit more into the politics and this religious zealot who has like the three walls, the Rose, Maria, and Sina around his neck, and they establish that there's religious zealots who believe that they're goddesses that control the wall, and the walls are like a godly figure. Very interesting. It's very symbolic of how the walls represent a confine, but that confine is like a belief system. Very subtle, right? So, and I love the idea that the military police, we see the two guards, and the very entrance of the military police looks like one of the gates that the Titan bursts through, right? So very interesting. So I'm still curious how Annie got back and forth between, she went a long distance to get to the outskirts of Wall Rose to get all the way back to Sina. So that was a pretty long distance. So I don't know how exactly she managed that, but I'm guessing some time has passed. So maybe she just worked her way back there. Interesting. So we get to meet a couple of the military police who I'm sure are going to die. And the reason why I say that is, one, Marlowe's too pure. Marlowe is like Marco 2.0. He's too pure. Marlowe is the military police version of Marco. He's not long for this world, I don't believe, because he's a pure, ordinary person. And then this Hitch woman, I don't like her at all. She's just, the way that they draw her, like her eyes being all like conniving, and she's just so fake and like sickly disgusting. I don't like her at all. So I picture that those two will probably die. We don't get the name of the gray-haired guy. I like him, but we don't get his name. And notice that in this whole shot of the military police, the only three that are in the light are the gray-haired man, Marlowe, and Hitch. So I feel like that's a subtle foreshadowing. They're the three military police members that are going to be involved in this plot. So it sounds like the military police from the get-go here don't really do a whole lot, and they don't have a lot to do. So maybe that's why she is able to get away, because they're not really doing anything right now. So there's no reason for her to like report or do any special duties. And even the gray-haired guy establishes she's the only one in the military police who's actually been in a Titan fight, which does not bode well for the people of Sina, because the whole thing I've been worried about this whole time is the people in Sina, the military police, they're the best of the best from the training regiment, but they are the least experienced out of everybody in the entire military. So if a Titan breaks through and starts fighting, they're the least apt to handle it. The Survey Corps being there is like a godsend, because at least they all have training and know how to defeat Titans. So again, I feel like if this thing goes well, that's a big gamble there, fingers crossed. But if it goes well, I feel like it could work in Levi and Erwin's favor, all three of their favors, because it would be like, hey, remember how the Survey Corps saved your asses? Okay, cool, let's do this. So this guy in charge of the military police tells them that we need temporary permission for in-city use of ODM gear to guard in tandem for their own security, which is interesting. So that means that in the city, they don't really get to use the ODM gear. I find that interesting. Seems that would be a limitation you wouldn't want to have in case if a Titan attack occurs, but I don't know. Travel by barge to the area where your mission will begin. Interesting. And so then Marlowe, of course, is questioning why, what are we protecting the convoy from? And what are we protecting them from? And I really think that the idea is that it's not really necessarily that they're protecting them from anything. They're staying guard over them in case Aaron becomes a Titan. And Marlowe tries to say, I've never heard of anyone acting against the monarchy. And it's like, oh, buddy, honey, these are minor criminals. It's hard to imagine any real organization unless they were based outside the walls. So that establishes that there is a belief that there are some organizations outside the wall. We talked about earlier on in this season how Armin's parents are outside the wall. They went outside the wall and never came back. So I wonder if maybe they joined an organization like that. Don't spoil me, but that's in the back of my mind. And I like that the guy's like, well, fine, you take care of all this since you know everything. And he was going to do that anyway. It's just the gesture of it that's kind of sleazy, the way he handles it. And of course, Marlowe, because he's a pure bag of powdered sugar, just is appalled and like, and I love the symbolism of as the guy goes back into where the military police officers are, they're all drinking and playing cards. Like the mission is it's too frivolous for them to even bother with. They have more pressing matters of living in luxury. And you can tell that Marlowe is just so frustrated by it. And him being like, I want to change things from the ground up. And Annie's just like, you're an honest man, so you probably won't get that accomplished here. Which is interesting. And Hitch says that that's why she chose it, because Hitch is basically stating that she is kind of sleazy. And so she's like, my whole goal is I'm going to work my way up to get to where those guys are at the card table, just drinking and having fun. She's like, I don't care about any of this military business. She's like, I just want a life of luxury. And she's like, when you're a rookie, they make you do almost everything. And she's like, I didn't know that. And then, yeah, Marlowe says they're scum who only think of themselves. And I like Annie justifying that. She's like, you probably won't get things accomplished because she's looking at the bigger picture. Marlowe is idealistic. And he's like, I'm a better man. I'll change things. I'm not trash. I'm here to correct the military police. And Annie's just like, yeah, you're not going to get that done because you are a good person. And it's so corrupt here that things are beyond repair. If you don't go with the flow, you're just they're gonna kick you out. They're gonna realize that you're something that's a hindrance and they're gonna get rid of you. So, yeah, it's simple, as he says, but she's like, it's not really possible to do on your own. Yeah. And I like that he says the line, the way humans are supposed to be, and it cuts to her. It cuts to Annie. Oh my gosh, there's so many red flags on all this, that Annie was the female Titan. There's so many red flags, and it's like, it's so satisfying to see it all come together. And Annie's saying, if a good person like you ends up in control, it'll be the end for us. Because here's the thing. It goes back to a few episodes ago where Armin's like, you have to get rid of your humanity to deal with monsters. And so if you're a good person like Marlowe, who has all this humanity and good ideas and idealistic thoughts, you're not going to get the job accomplished because the monsters don't care about idealism. They don't care about playing fair. They'll destroy you and think nothing of it. So she's like, you're a good person, Marlowe, but you're the type of person that's going to get killed because your ideals are getting in the way of people that don't have any. And it's kind of implying that she doesn't have any. It's implying that others don't have any. It's kind of like Aaron wears his heart on his sleeve, and Aaron's emotions get the better of him, and Annie's like, yeah, that's the problem. She's like, you, Marlo, you're like this kid I know named Aaron, and he didn't want to go with the flow, and it ended up this is why he's in the predicament that he is. So then we get cut to the scene where they're selling military equipment to whom? To whom? That's the thing. They have a merchant ship and they're shipping off ODM equipment and stuff, but to whom? That's the thing, right? It's illegal to sell military equipment, but who are they selling it to? To civilians? To an outside party? That got things so much more interesting, is that this broker gives them the gold in exchange for the equipment. So what black market? I didn't know there was a black market. Like, here's the thing. What civilian would use the ODM gear to fight Titans? Like, what civilian would actively go out and do that? So that's interesting. That's so fascinating to me. Like, why? Who are they selling it to? I guess, but why? So I'm curious about that. I want to file that away. Like, where is it going? But I love that Marlo stands up to them, and it goes exactly like you think it's going to go, where they just beat the snot out of him. And I'm glad Annie steps up and helps him, because here's the thing that's so frustrating about Annie, or at least has been frustrating about Annie. I don't know, that whole persona reveal of her at the end of this episode, where she's just smiling and is a completely different person, is insane to me. But in that moment, she realizes that he's a good person and she offers to help him. But she also tells him he has a chance to kill him. She's like, you could fire at them. You said, you just gave all this talk about wanting to fight the injustice and give back to them. So shoot them. They don't deserve to live. They're doing illegal things and hurting our country. So get rid of them. And he can't do it. And it's kind of her way of saying, see, you want to make all this change, but it's going back to Levi's words. It's like, you want to make all this change, but you're not willing to sacrifice anything for it. It's tying back to that. You want to make change without sacrifice, and that's not possible. And when he asks if people she know would have done that, she's like, they might have. And at first I was like, oh, nobody from the Scouts would do that. But then I'm like, well, no, wait, Aaron would. He's killed people before. Mikasa would. I don't know about Armin, but this episode, the first half of this episode was really good, but the second half with Armin, with the discussion, with the facial expressions, with the animation, oh my God. Oh, so damn good. So, Hitch, again, points out that people are starting to make a scene. They're starting to make a scene. People are starting to notice and questioning the military police and what they're doing. So they just let it go. And Hitch, being the actress that she is, goes and like puts on a big apology to them. So that's really interesting that she goes and so Hitch, it's funny, Hitch comes off as like a total bitchy character, but then in that one moment where she like sighs and goes and turns to the audience, it's not that she's bad necessarily, it's just that she has formulated in her mind what ranking she wants to do, what her goal is. Hitch's goal is to get to that point where she can live in luxury, and if she has to act snotty to do it, she'll do it. And then Annie saying, if you want to punish them, I'll help you. So that's interesting too. I'm like, the motivations behind Annie getting to the military police are fascinating to me, and I want to know more. I want to know why Annie's here, because it's like, why did she come here? She can turn into a Titan. Why go to the military police? I guess because the likelihood of them ever experiencing a Titan attack is very low, so maybe she won't have to encounter any. But why? And so, oh my gosh. But here's the thing. The thing that cemented to me that Annie was the female Titan is right when she's talking to Marlo. Marlo's talking about being scum and going with the flow, and the fact that he can't do anything, and that he feels like he's just powerless and he's not making the change that he wants to. And when Annie said, isn't that what normal human beings do, is just go with the flow, and it cuts to the lake, the river, the stream. I just want the weak who do get swept along with the flow to be considered human too. It's like Annie just wants to be considered human, and that's going back to episode 10. It's going back to episode 10 to Aaron being like, I'm human, and I can become a Titan, but I'm human. It's Aaron trying to justify his humanity in episode 10 in front of Warhammer and all of them. It's Annie's doing the same argument. The same argument. That's what's so crazy, is that her and Aaron have the same dilemma. They're both trying to find their humanity amidst having this power to turn into something monstrous. So, oh my gosh. So we have Niall, old Niall, leading the escort of them to the Capitol, and all the guard there just following along and being the escort. And then Armin, my dude. Oh my God. This conversation, knowing what we know now, the fact that I'm rewatching this episode and realizing the fact that Armin had suspected that she was the female Titan, it gives this conversation a whole different context, because he lures her into a dark alley. That's the thing too. He lures her into a dark alley where it's out of the sun, right? And the way he looks at her is just like he's trying to rationalize and figure out what's going on. That it's a look of someone, it's like a look of Judas. It's like he's like, we're about to betray you, but I need you to listen. It's like Armin wants to figure everything out. So we cut to the information card here, and it says the military police. The military police number about 2,000. But if you add the garrison under their command, their actual force is approximately 5,000. So the military police is about 2,000 members, but they command the garrisons. And the garrisons are about 3,000. Okay. And that doesn't include the Survey Corps, because Survey Corps are awesome and they don't adhere to their rules. And so the second thing is saying that each walled city has about 200 military police stationed there. Primary duties are to oversee trainee brigades, monitor the garrison, and direct firefighting operations. So, ideally we're at Stohess, so there's probably 200 people here, 200 military police, plus the garrisons. It's not a lot. That's not 2,000. That's not a lot. So is that suggesting there's 20 cities in Wall Sina around that area? Is that what it's suggesting? Interesting. I love this conversation where he's like, I'm carrying supplies and I've got maneuver gear under my raincoat, because he's going to be giving it to them. And then, would you help me assist in Aaron escaping? This whole scene, this whole dynamic of Annie, it's amazing, because Annie, who has been fighting Aaron as the female Titan, who's been fighting Mikasa, who's been fighting Armin, like all these people who are just attacking each other 5 episodes ago, are now walking together, talking like it's no big deal. And it was all to corner her. Oh my God. Armin's planning, and the way that he worded everything, the way that he planned this, you could tell this was Armin's plan. He's like, okay, when we get in, we need to get Aaron out, but we also need to corner Annie because she's the female Titan. So how are we going to do that? We'll lure her into this underground part of the city that wasn't completed. And while she's under there, she won't be able to transform into Titan. We'll subdue her and take her with us. And oh my God. Oh. And you could tell that while she's talking, because Annie's smart, and so while she's talking, you could tell that Armin is trying to think his way through it. And when she asks them the point of everything, he's like, I can't tell you. And so you could tell in that moment that Annie's like, damn it, I wanted to know why, but fine, then I can't help you. And for a second, it seemed like she was going to just be like, well, then I can't help you, as if that was going to make him tell her what's going on. And then Armin is like, well, wait a minute. He tries to beg her and saying, like, Aaron will be killed if you don't. Clueless people who only care about saving their own skin will unwittingly set humanity on a path towards self-destruction. He's like, we can't let them kill Aaron because they don't even realize how valuable Aaron is. And then Armin's saying that he knows he can't convince her, but we have to make a bigger wager. We have to make a bigger bet than them. Humanity's saying Aaron's a threat and that we need to get rid of him. We need to bet bigger and say, no, Aaron's not a threat. We don't need to kill him because he's going to save humanity. he's like, I just want to get through the checkpoints of Wall Sina, and we need somebody from the military police to do that. So Annie's like their only hope of getting out of there without getting noticed. And I like that despite everything he's just said, like all the reasons why, like saving humanity, protecting Aaron, like everything, that's not what she asks about. She asks, do I look like a good person to you? And his response is interesting. Knowing what he knows, he's like, a good person. And you know he wants to say no because he knows everything about her. But instead, he chooses to say, I don't like that term. Instead, he says, to me, being good means that someone is good for you. Like it's just out of convenience. So I don't think there's any one person who's good for everyone. So if you don't help me, then to me, you're a bad person, right? So that's why he's just turning it right back to her. He's like, well, if you're asking me if you're a good person, then that's saying that if you don't help him, it's suggesting you're a bad person. So he just bringing that conversation right back to her. And I love her looking over at him. The relationship between Armin and Annie is so interesting because they've had these conversations between one another and they're both so smart. It kind of makes the ending scene with Marco, with the reveal about Marco, and we'll get to that, all the more painful because it suggests that it makes it so much more painful because they've had these moments and then she slips on the ring saying that she's in, like, as its security. But here's the thing too, so we've established that self-inflicting harm is not the only way to become a Titan. So I wonder if Annie knows that or not. Maybe Annie doesn't know that because they've discovered that with Aaron, that it's not just self-inflicting harm that does it. It's having that goal set in mind. But for her, she slips that ring on saying that she's in. I'm curious if she understands that or if that's a catalyst. You have to have the goal and to hurt yourself too. Again, them all walking together is it's so surreal because like 2 episodes ago, we just saw like Aaron and her battling and Mikasa and her battling. And the fact that they're all cornering her and they all know what's going to happen and they managed to keep cool this long is amazing. And then of course, Aaron nearly ruins everything. So Jean is, okay, I thought Jean colored his hair because of the Funimation, but going back and seeing Crunchyroll, it's a wig. He's wearing a wig. Jean is wearing an Aaron wig, which is hilarious to me. To be fair, in that moment when he looks freaked out, he does kind of look like Aaron. It's funny. He looks kind of like him. But I like that Aaron's like, the ruse won't last because we don't look alike at all. He has a horse face. I love it. Both of you look like criminals, so it's the same. You have the same look. Oh my god, I love it. And then I like that Annie's like, so if I hadn't helped you, how were you going to get over the wall? And then Armin's like, well, we would have used the maneuver gear. And she's like, that's stupid. It would have been easier to escape before you reach. And here's the thing. Why didn't you escape before you reached Stohess? Which, again, is tying to Armin's plan because she's very much correct. Like, if you didn't want to go through all this trouble, why didn't you just replace Aaron with Jean and sneak out way back at Wall Rose? Why'd you wait till you were in the city where you couldn't escape unless you did something crazy? The answer is they did it to capture Annie. But Armin, being big brain, is like, well, we can't just say that. So why here now? And Armin's like, well, the complicated layer of the city would give us a better chance of swapping Aaron with Jean. And by pretending to go along with it, we would prevent suspicion by the military police by looking like we were following with protocol. And Annie seems like she believes that. But I wonder if she says, I get it now. And so in the moment I was like, why did Aaron and Mikasa look at each other? But thinking back, they knew the plan. When Annie says, I get it now, I wonder if Annie was suspecting that something was up. I wonder if she suspected something was up in that moment. And Aaron and Mikasa looking at one another is them both acknowledging that, yeah, she knows what's up. We need to hurry this up because otherwise something bad's going to happen. And that's when Armin and them discover the underground. So now here's the question. This is the question of the day. Annie sees the underground area And they're like, it's a tunnel. It's the remains of an underground city that they planned and abandoned. So we're going to sneak through here. So this takes us close to the outer gate. And I like that Aaron is saying, really? Wow. But he looks very emotionless. So it's like, And that's when everything falls apart. Here's the question, though. The question is Annie legitimately afraid of being underground? Or did she figure out the plan? Did she figure out the setup? Or is she legitimately afraid? Or both? It could be both. It could be that she is legitimately afraid, or that she figured out the plan too. It could be either way. We established through Hanji that Titans are not as powerful without direct sunlight, and we established when they had Aaron in the basement way back in episode 14 that they had him underground so that if he became a Titan, it would all collapse on him and could kill him. So, by that logic, she does not want to go underground for those two reasons. That is a very legitimate reasoning. And she's like, no, I am afraid of dark, cramped places. Yes. So that also leads me to believe that it could be in her past. If she's been able to turn into a Titan for a long time, if it's something related to her training, related to her father, then it could very well be that he hid her underground, like to keep her from turning into a Titan or as punishment or something. And this is having like a post-traumatic reaction to her. It's very possible. She's like, a suicidal bastard like you, a suicidal maniac, wouldn't understand how a weak girl like me feels. And in that moment, when she looks slightly freaked out, the look on Armin's face is insane. It's so telling that in that moment, he's like, oh, yeah, it is you. Because that's like that moment, it's a brief moment of emotion that is unusual for Annie. And so Armin picking up on it is just, the animation's gorgeous. I absolutely love that. A girl who can spin a man around in midair isn't weak. And then it's tying everything back, like Aaron knows exactly. And he recognized that it was her. He recognized when she did that flip of him back in episode 21, he realized it was Annie, and that was right before his head got lobbed off. Oh my God. And she's like, I won't go that way. She's like, it scares me. If we aren't going above ground, I won't help. And that's when... And Aaron, of course, nearly like ruins everything because he gets mad and frustrated. And Mikasa's like, don't shout. You're going to screw this up. Stop screwing around. And it's not a problem, is it, Mikasa? For some reason, there hasn't been anyone nearby for a while. And that's like her establishing that, why are we alone in this place? And there's all the scouts surrounding him. Like I said, I thought it was the military police at first, but it's all the scouts. It's everybody. And there's Mike and there's everybody there. Oh my gosh, all the people that have been hired to help. And that just breeze blowing. I'm hurt. And Armin has the flare that he's gonna fire, and his hands, it's like shaking in his hands. When did you start looking at me that way, Armin? Yeah, the way he looks at her, it's like, why? Why? And this is the part that blew my mind. Why did you have Marco's maneuver gear? Why? And she can't answer. And Aaron's face, he's like, excuse me. And Armin, I remembered even the tiniest dings because we repaired them together. Because we repaired them together. He's like, I knew. That's why I recognized them. I knew all the bumps and marks on them, and yours didn't have them. So how did you get his equipment? She's like, I see. Well, I happened to find it. So the question is, did you find it? Or did she kill Marco? Is she the reason Marco's dead? And that look on Armin's face is like, yeah, no. He's thinking it's the latter. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then, yeah. And they're like, then you killed the 2 Titans that we captured. It was you. She's like, who knows? If you thought that a month ago, why didn't you act then? Because I can't believe it. I wanted to think that my eyes had deceived me. And because of that, what about you? And then, then he's looking back. You didn't kill me back then. Why didn't you? And that's why this is all happening. So you tell me, why didn't you kill me a month ago? And I love that, just the shadow coming from her feet. Oh my gosh. I think so too. Oh my gosh. Yes, she thought she'd just go to the military police and no one would suspect her. Why didn't I kill you then? Yeah, and she doesn't answer the question. There's still a chance you're an idiot. So get down here. And it seems almost like Aaron doesn't want to believe that it's her. You can prove something just by going underground. Just get down here and prove it. And she's like, no. I failed to become a warrior. And Aaron's trying to talk her out of it. And Armin's trying to talk to her. And Mika says like, hell no, that's enough. She clearly is not going to talk to us. Mika says like, Armin, Aaron, you guys can talk to her all day long. But this girl, Mika said, looking badass as hell. I love her, like just shucking the jacket. And she's got this long sleeve shirt on with the scarf and the gear. She's like, look, this girl nearly killed me. She nearly killed Levi. She killed our comrades. Nah. It's over. Talk time is over. Mika says like, she ripped Aaron out of that Titan. She said, I told you that if I saw you again, I would tear you apart. And then here's the thing. Annie, up until this point, has been so stoic and emotionless. And that line, like the realization, like her blushing. Is she blushing or is her face just flushed? I don't know. And Armin, it's like Armin's horror is like every one of his nightmares confirmed. That there was a small part of him that was convinced that maybe things weren't what he thought. And her laughing and smiling is confirming all of his fears to be justified. And Mika says like, yep, called it. And her smiling, oh my God, Armin, I'm glad I could be a good person to you. You've won your bet. But this is where my bet begins. Oh my God. Oh. And everybody just jumping down to grab her and stop her from turning into a Titan. But it's no good. And Mika says like, we gotta leave. It's time to go. Jeez. And she's like, we gotta leave now. We're too late. And her cutting her finger and turning into the Titan. And then everyone in Sina seeing it like this gigantic, epic explosion. Oh my God. So yeah, cool. So we got 2 episodes left. We got 2 episodes of the season left, and Annie's just revealed that she is the female Titan. She's going to turn into a Titan, and Mikasa taking Armin and Aaron down beneath. Here's the thing. It's smart that she took them down into the underground because Annie's not going to follow them. She can't follow them down there. And I don't know if Annie knows where that tunnel leads to because Annie clearly didn't want to go down into it. And if that's true, if she really is afraid of being underground, then she likely has not explored that area yet to know. So they said it led to the outer gate. So if Armin's wasn't lying, then they could technically take that tunnel, take that escape route, get to the outer gate, and then attack her from an unknown location that she wouldn't know, right? But the problem with that is that in the meantime, Annie's going to be a female Titan causing a lot of collateral damage. And it's going to be so interesting to see in what content and context the military police gets involved in. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that. It's going to be interesting to see if Jean and them all abandon the escort and go help, if Levi and Erwin are there, like how are they going to handle things? I know there's a plan. Armin having this elaborate plan this entire episode, you know they had a plan for if things went wrong. So my question is going to be, what was that plan? And don't spoil me, but I'm so excited to see the fact that Annie's personality has such a dramatic change is pretty terrifying. So I don't know. Here's the thing. Is that dramatic? Is that her being all flushed and giddy and happy? Is that a persona too? Or is that real? The question of who the real Annie is fascinating to me, because I feel like we're not going to know immediately, right? So, I don't know like what Annie's really like, how that works. I don't know. What I do know is that was a really good episode. I'm glad it's all out in the open. If we get, I'm like, show, Armin being friends with Marco. I didn't really realize how close Armin and Marco were until you showed me this episode. And now I'm like, excuse me, if we go back to Marco again this season and we see her kill him, I don't know what I'll do, but it won't be good. Oh my God. Okay. Cool beans. So there's that. So I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. I know y'all can't spoil me. Please don't spoil me or tag spoilers if you're going to talk amongst yourselves about things. But I'm curious to know your thoughts about the episode, what you guys thought about the reveal when it first came out. My question is, now that we know it's Annie, now that we know Annie's the female Titan, for sure, it's confirmed. Did you guys guess right off the bat that it was Annie? Or did you, from episode 17, or was it something that had to like come over time? Or was this a total surprise? Because if you didn't think Annie was the female Titan, this would have been a total surprise. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. But yeah, 2 more episodes to go. Woo! In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I will be back very soon with episode 24, the penultimate season finale, penultimate episode. It's going to be good, but I'll see y'all at episode 24 of Attack on Titan. Bye.